A Medical Doctor's Understanding of Buddhism, authored by Dr. Woon LIU. Chapter 4. One Life or Many Lives. In Buddha's time, a disciple of old age asked Buddha to prove to him that man had not just one life but many lives, and would not extinguish like a candle light. The disciple further said that it would be meaningless to follow Buddha's teachings if man only had this very one life. Buddha asked this disciple, "The body of yours, as a child, as a youth, as an adult and as an old man like you now, which body is the real you?" The disciple did not know how to answer Buddha and was dumbfounded. Buddha then asked him another question. "The ability of yours to see river Ganges, as a child, as a youth, as an adult, and as an old man like you now, is there any difference?" This time the old disciple answered very quickly, saying that there was no difference. Buddha then explained to this old disciple, things that change with time, they will ultimately perish or extinguish, but for things that do not change with time, they will not perish or extinguish. Your body will perish but your consciousness will not perish. You have lived many lives, you will live on and will not perish. In a management class, a tutor asked the students to write down what they would like to achieve in the next 5 years. Most students wrote down plans for their careers. Then the tutor asked the students to write down plans for 5 months, if they were told by the doctor they had only 5 months to live. The students' plan then was to spend their remaining time with their family. It was a class to teach time management. The tutor's aim is to tell the students that plans would be different when you are given different time spans. Similarly, our plan or goal for life would be different if we live not just for one life but will live lives after lives. Chapter 5. 6 Places of Reincarnation. There are 6 places of reincarnation. Heaven, a place for kind people who have done good things. It is a place of joy and happiness. Lifespan is long, so long that many misconceive that it is eternal. Asura, a place for mighty spirits who have done good and have practiced training in supernatural, but have not practiced letting go of emotions. Some asuras might be partially purified but they still have mundane emotions of human, and could be good or evil. Human, a place for the good and bad people to stay together, and a place with both happiness and sufferings. Thus the good people can help the needy and escalate spiritually, and the bad people can learn from the good people and grow spiritually. Human is the best place for spiritual growth and enlightenment. Animals, a place for beings of lower level of consciousness, filled with much toxic emotions. Ghost, a place for beings who are not good enough to become human and not so bad as has to go to hell. Hell, a place of punishment for those who have done bad things. The aim is to help them learn from the sufferings of punishment so that they would learn not to do bad again. To which place of the 6 places of reincarnation depend on? 1. Our karma, the most important and weighted factor. 2. One's wish. For example, a good person will go to heaven, but if it is his wish to stay in human where he can do more charity, he can stay in human. Buddhism says human is the best place for spiritual growth. There are 3 realms in this universe. 1. Realm of formlessness, only consciousness with no material bodies. 2. Realm of form, light bodies with no more sensual desires. 3. Realm of sensual desires, which are the 6 places of reincarnation. Buddhism says as long as we are in the 3 realms, we cannot get away from reincarnation. And the 3 realms are like a house blazing with fire, and is not a safe and comfortable place to stay in. We can only free ourselves from all sufferings by transcending the 3 realms. To do so, we need to get enlightened or purified, or to free ourselves from all attachments. Chapter 6. Karma, the sequel of your actions. Buddhism says there is fate in life but life is not destined, meaning that fate can be changed with good or bad deeds, good change for good deeds and bad change for bad deeds. Fate means that life happenings is set and is not under one's control. Karma means life happenings is the sequel of cause and result, action and reaction, cause and effect, meaning that what we did in our past lives give us what we have in this life. Karma often is taken to mean fate. But karma has an extra meaning on top of fate, that it is fate set because of the result of your past actions. Buddhism explains the law of karma with the theory of karma of 3 lives, the past, the present and the future lives. There is a saying in Buddhism about karma, the deeds you did in your past life determine your fate of this life. And the deeds you do in this life determine the fate of your next live. And karma of 3 lives is just a convenience to explain the law of karma, cause and result, action and reaction, of the past, present and future lives. In fact, karma might involve causes of many lives before, and results might come many lives after. Depending on the actions or deeds that have been done, beings will rotate in the reincarnation wheel of 6 places. Those who have done good would go to heaven and those who have done bad would go to hell. And when their karma are fulfilled or completed in one place, they would rotate to other places according to their karma. We have rotated round the reincarnation wheel of 6 places many times since the beginning of time, and will continue to do so unless we can find a way to transcend the reincarnation wheel of 6 places. To do this, like what we have said in the last chapter in Transcending the 3 Realms, we need to get purified or enlightened by letting go of our attachments, that is greed, anger, and foolishness. Chapter 7. The Meaning of Life. I trust most people would have thought about what is the meaning of life, but no one is able to give this a good answer. On internet, I found 2 sayings about the meaning of life quite interesting. I will search for the meaning of life because I do not want to live a meaningless life. I will not search for the meaning of life because I do not want to live a meaningless life. Looking at the 2 sayings, we would find the first one logical and understandable, but the second one, what actually does it mean? What the second one means is that people have been searching for the meaning of life for decades, and yet still cannot find it. It would indeed be meaningless to keep searching for it. No one knows what actually the meaning of life is. Most people do not have any views on the meaning of life. Many others just do not care. Various religions have various views on this, but I believe few know what Buddha's view is. As said in Chapter 3, Buddhism says we were all originally pure and blissful. Through lives after lives, we have nurtured the 3 toxic emotions, and got attached to the worldly desires. Buddhas have regained their original purity and blissfulness and they know the goodness of it. It is something that all people originally have and should get it back or return to it. There are many Buddhas in the universe. To them the meaning of life is to help people find their original self. To all people and beings, their meaning of life is to find their original self by freeing themselves from the 3 toxic emotions. The original self is the most blissful and happy. It has always been there in each and every one of us, only that we are not able to unveil it because of the 3 toxic emotions. When we find the original self, we would know that there is actually no self, we are all one, there is only purity and blissfulness. Chapter 8. What is happiness? This shore and that shore. People may not know what they want for life but all would like to live a happy life. Surely one should live a happy life, otherwise whatever meaning of life would be meaningless. Buddhism also says we would find happiness in enlightenment, for if not it would be meaningless to practice Buddhism and it should not be taught to others. What then is happiness? How does worldly happiness compare to spiritual happiness? Let us first talk about spiritual happiness. When in a Buddhism class, I asked the students, when was the last time they felt happy? Almost all students looked stupefied as they could not remember when they ever felt happy. When they recovered from their stupefaction, many said that they felt happy when having lunch with their colleagues. When asked if they would still feel happy if their superiors were present, all then said no. Buddhism says when one is free from any worries, happiness would flow out uninhibitedly from the blissfulness within. When the superiors are present, worries of upsetting the superiors would block the natural flow of happiness from within and one would not feel happy. Take for another example, many have played roller coaster. If you ask those who have just finished playing if they feel happy, most would say they feel happy. But if you ask them whether they would feel happy if they have to play it again or several times more, they would surely decline as they would not feel happy anymore. Roller coaster is a very horrifying game. People say they feel happy after playing it not because they are really happy but because they are relieved from that horrible worrying experience and have a hard-earned relief which they mistake it to be happiness. From the above 2 examples, we can see that happiness comes about when there is uninhibited flow of blissfulness from within. The happiness of the blissfulness within is immense. It will totally be felt when all blocks from the toxic emotions are removed. We would feel slight blissful happiness when we have done something good. That is because we have let go some of our toxic emotions, like greed, by giving out money, our effort and time, thus lessening the block for the flow of blissful happiness. And that is why so many people like to do charity work, because they do feel good doing it. About worldly happiness, they are mainly sensual desires of sex and food related to our body. Such happiness or desires are short-lived, would cause bad karma and thus sufferings, and would cause us to rotate endlessly in the reincarnation wheel of 6 places. When one knows that there is spiritual happiness that is eternal and so immense that worldly happiness is not comparable, would it be wise or worthwhile to still cling to sensual desires which would bring upon continually endless sufferings? Buddhism do not deny that there are worldly happiness, but they are accompanied by lots of sufferings at the same time, and we should not get attached to worldly happiness. There are 8 kinds of sufferings: birth, old age, sickness, death, parting with loved ones, meeting with despised ones, not getting what one wants, overactivity of skandhas, aggregates, meaning the combining substances of the body. Buddhism urge that people should cross from this shore of worldly happiness with lots of sufferings to that shore of eternal spiritual happiness. Thank you, and let's continue in our next video.